Good morning. Good morning. It's Donny Coram, your foreclosure deals coach, and welcome to this live Q&A of the Foreclosure Deals Coach Show. This is the show where every week we discuss how you out there can find, figure, fund, fix, and flip a foreclosure deal right here in your local market. I'm based here in Colorado Springs, Colorado, grew up right here in this city, have done over 300 flips in this location, and now I coach people just like you on finding a deal, figuring a deal during the analysis phase, funding the deal with my network of hard and private money lenders, fixing that deal to market standards, not above, not below, and flipping that deal for a minimum profit, working with coaching of $25,000. Guys, Happy New Year. We are nearing the end of the year, just a few days before they're going to start the countdown and end 2023, hopefully with a bang. I hope this year has been amazing for you, but if you didn't accomplish one of your New Year's objectives, I want to tell you on today's show how to get started and prepare to do a deal here in 2024. There are some guidelines that are changing, particularly with the business structuring of LLCs that we're going to discuss in a little bit of detail today. Now, listen, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a tax accountant, so I can't give you official legal advice on that. But what I can tell you is myself and my clients spend a lot of time studying the real estate market as a whole. And in doing so, you have to become somewhat of an expert on how the business market is operating. To that end, we have really been watching some of the changes that are going to take place in ownership of entities in 2024. We're going to discuss that in detail today. Now, first of all, why do you need an entity at all to do a fix and flip? Well, you don't. I can tell you that you can actually do a deal in your own personal name, but it's going to become readily obvious why you're not going to want to put a flip deal in your name right out of the gate here. One of the reasons you want to avoid doing a fix and flip in your personal name, and probably the primary reason, is the financing. The loans that we use to do financing on fix and flips are handled by hard and private money lenders. If you're familiar with the mortgage market at all, you know that normal residential mortgages are bound by the laws of RESPA, basically a protective entity for consumers that provides certain guidelines that have to be followed when providing a residential mortgage to a would-be residential buyer. Well, when you're buying a house with a hard money or private money loan, they don't have to follow any of the RESPA guidelines. The downside to that is, they don't have, because they don't have certain terms they have to follow, they can be very dangerous. Like, you can get into a situation almost like a loan shark thing. If you're dealing with the wrong hard money lender, you can find yourself in a situation where you're overpaying for the loan. The reality is that most hard money lenders are really good people who are running businesses where they lend money to businesses, entities that want to do a fix and flip. Now, they do so at a substantially higher rate than you would normally pay for a mortgage. Whereas today's mortgage rates are a very unforgiving, somewhere between late sixes and early sevens, 7% right now. The hard money loan right now is operating somewhere closer to 11 to 13%. Now, your first instinct on that is, why in God's name would I pay 11 to 13% to borrow money for a house? Well, give some thought to the math here. Let's just round it to 12%. That makes it an even 1% per month. Okay. Whereas when you're buying a 30-year mortgage to live in, you want a low interest rate because you're going to own this thing for 30 years. And obviously the higher interest rate is going to impact you negatively financially. This is still the case on a fix and flip, but normally we own a fix and flip for 90 to 120 days. So again, if your interest rate is at 12%, which seems really high when you say it out loud, right? Then you realize you're only paying 1% a month to the lender for 4 months, or basically 4% to do the deal. Now, these are big numbers. So if we're borrowing $300,000, okay, to buy a property at 12% interest, 1% a month, and we need that money for 90 to 120 days, then our cost of funds to do the deal are going to be about $10,000 to $12,000. Okay. Now, while that's a lot of money, it is far more cost effective than not doing a deal where you potentially make $25,000 or more, and without having all the RESPA guidelines and stuff slowing the process down in hard money lending, you can now get that loan in a much faster time frame than you can on a conventional mortgage. A lot of times we buy houses that we close in 7 to 10 business days, sometimes even less. My claim to fame is I got one done in about 72 hours. It's rare, but it can be done because there are no underwriting guidelines and it's an asset-based loan, which means to you that they really only care about the property, not as much your credit score. You have to have decent credit to get this done, not fabulous, just decent, okay? Somewhere between 620 and up is more than sufficient to get a hard money loan done. Why? Because it's a very short dance for the lender. They're not dealing with you for 30 years. The loans generally have a 1-year balloon or less on the property because they're expecting they're going to be out of this loan inside of a year. So it's a very high interest rate for a very short period of time. The net effect of that is you must have an entity to get a hard money loan, because to get around all those RESPA guidelines, they cannot sell that money to an owner-occupant buyer. So if you intend to occupy the property, you cannot get one of these harder private money loans on it because it's a violation of the RESPA laws, okay? What this means is you got to make sure you get your entity set up. And what I'm going to be offering, because a lot of people this year have kind of talked to me about, how do I get started? What are the steps I need to take to get ready to buy a house in 2024 as an investment? This is one of the many things you need to do. I'm going to be preparing a checklist, my 5 F's checklist, to get you through the 5 things you need to do to find a deal, figure the deal, fund the deal, fix the deal, and flip the deal at a profit, okay? So stay tuned for that. We're going to be providing that checklist absolutely free. My guys are working on it right now because we've just been getting the same set of questions over and over again, and it's my very passion to educate you, the watchers of this show, on how to get started in real estate investing, even if you don't decide to get started in real estate investing with me. I just want to be an educational resource for you, my wonderful viewers of the show. Stay tuned for that. I'm going to be getting you that here in a little bit. Let's go a little farther into this entity thing, though. As of December 21st, I'm gonna load this article, and this is just one of many that were out there. Do your own research, obviously. But what is changing in 2024 is the FinCEN beneficial ownership rule, effective January 2024. But they are talking about extending the reporting deadline. Basically, what this means is any company that is created, and it seems like a big deal when you say create a company, okay? But because we do this full time, we're creating entities. I would say I probably created 40 to 50 LLCs in 2023 alone, okay? So the process is not that difficult to create an LLC. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes to register it online, in this case, in the Colorado Secretary of State website. So you can get registered relatively quickly. Now, this new law is saying that you're gonna have to report your ownership to the IRS. The federal government is going to get ownership reports that you have to do at least annually. And if you don't get that done, okay, you're going to be facing it up to a $500 fine per day that you do not report the ownership of that entity. Now, we have no real problem with reporting who owns the entity that we're working with. So it's not like we don't want to do it. It's more that it's another level of hassle in the government and all their infinite wisdom. And why are they doing this now? Well, there are like I said, I alone set up 50 to 60 entities in 2023, right? So you got people who are setting up mega masses of entities, thousands, about hundreds of thousands of businesses are being set up in 2023. And I want to level with you, okay? Because these entities get a lot of tax benefits, it is my belief that the current state of the administration is trying to destroy the small business owner. Okay, the big businesses are going to survive. The people who are impoverished, and don't make a lot of money to survive, they're going to be as poor as they were before, right in between the small business owner, which is one of the few ways to get out of the rat race, become self-employed. I believe that there's a current onslaught on the small business owner, and that includes people who are looking to go into real estate investing. My belief, and a lot of people share this, my wife and I have talked about this extensively, is that this new law is so intrusive, okay, that they're introducing it now, but there's going to be a change of administration. We're not going to get into a big political discussion on the show today, but my belief is there's going to be a change of administration here in 2024. We're heading into an election year, okay, and that change of administration is going to see this law as very intrusive, privacy violation, and might overturn it, but that's a might right now. So today you need to know that you have to form an LLC to get your flip done, and then based on this beneficial ownership rule that's coming out, you have to report who benefits from this LLC. And if you don't file that documentation, you could be fined up to $500 per day as a result of not issuing this paperwork. Very, very dangerous stuff. Okay, so you're going to want to make sure that A, you're structuring your LLC correctly, and B, that you are taking care to do the necessary reporting. They are delaying the requirements for filing until 2025, but any LLC that is not, so if you form an LLC today, and I'm literally advising you, if you're watching this right now, okay, and you're thinking about flipping a property, I want you to message me. I will walk you through at absolutely no charge setting up an LLC this year in the next 3 days. My pleasure to do it, okay? Because anything filed before January 1st, 2024 is completely immune to this law. But if you file an LLC as of January 1st, 2024, you are now under this new guideline. And if you don't properly report, you could be in big trouble. You're going to have to file an extension. Again, why are they doing this? Because they want to make it more and more difficult for the independent business owner to sustain in this market, because the independent business owner makes the most amount of money per capita compared to the people who are working hourly, and they generally pay the least amount of taxes because there are a lot of tax benefits, tax loopholes, if you will, that business owners benefit from, okay? So the government wants to put a stop to this because they like collecting tax dollars. And by making you report who owns that LLC, they now have the means to go after you for any income you didn't pay, anything that you use as a benefit to owning that LLC. This is all bad, people. It's all bad, okay? And I'm not going to get anti-governmental with you, but I am going to tell you that now is the time to get prepared for this by filing for an LLC right now. Stop what you're doing. Go to the Secretary of State website, file for an LLC today. Name it whatever, ABC 123 Corporation, the Smith Corporation, etc. Name it after yourself. This is not good for privacy protection, which is a show for an entirely different time where we're going to discuss asset protection and how to protect your assets against people who may want to sue you and take those assets away from you. But it is going to be good business protection for business owners who are looking to get started in 2024 to do their first fix and flip deal. It costs about $50 to get your LLC set up. From there, the second step is you need an EIN with the IRS, which you file also online. That's completely free. And then you need to open a business bank account because, once again, the lenders need to verify that you have a bank account to deposit any funds into that is not your personal bank account. Those are your three items. You've got to get your LLC set up, you've got to get your EIN, and you've got to get your business bank account. That is just a microcosm of the things you need to do to get set up to do a deal in 2024. When you get into my coaching program, and I want to avoid this turning into a coaching pitch, but when you join coaching, I hand walk you through every step you need to get started in real estate investing so you can find a deal, you can analyze that deal, fund the deal, fix the deal, and flip the deal. The problem is most people, and I speak for most of the people who come into my coaching program, they simply don't know what steps they need to take just to get the ball rolling on this. Well, if you don't know the initial steps, which are not that complicated, I've given a lot of them to you right now, then it's going to be very difficult to proceed to the higher end steps. As a result, most people get frustrated and never actually do a deal. And I want you to think for a minute what a travesty that would be if it's your goal to become a real estate investor and make at least some of your income from real estate investing, which, by the way, is one of the top 3 ways to build wealth here in the United States of America, is through real estate. If you never get started on that path because you don't know the initial steps, wouldn't that be such a travesty, such a waste? I don't want that to happen to you, okay? What I really would like is to work with people here in 2024, and I want you to hear this now. I'm going to be bringing in only 50 clients in 2024 here in the Colorado Springs marketplace that want to do at least one fix and flip deal with a minimum profit in the relationship of $25,000 or a great deal more, okay? We're hoping to get that done on one deal, but if we don't, that's okay, because the goal is to make sure that you are prepared to do deals on a consistent basis. If you really love this business and you want to do 6, 8 deals a year, that's great. If you want to keep your day job and do 1 deal per quarter, make an extra $100,000 a year for your family, that's wonderful. Whatever your investing future is, I want to help you with it. A lot of people want to get into real estate investing to buy rental property and live on passive income. Let me give you some advice here, okay? Number 1, there's nothing passive about real estate ownership, okay? It is just in general a hassle. It is much better than working a 9-to-5 grind job, don't get me wrong. But to really make the money you want to make in real estate investing passively, you got to own 10 to 20 properties to bring in enough to offset a pretty typical income, okay? 10 to 20 properties is never going to be completely passive. Okay, it's going to require property management. It's going to require repairs. It's going to require dealing with tenants. And I'm not here to discourage you on it by any means, just to let you know that it's very difficult to start by buying rental property. But starting with flipping allows you to bring in income that you can now use to make your down payments on your rental property. See, buying a rental property is very capital intensive, especially at the price that houses are right now. If you're going to buy a rental at $300,000, and a conventional lender wants you to put 20% down. And yes, there are other options other than conventional lenders, but just talking about standard lending practices, you want to buy that property, put 20% down, you're now talking about $60,000 you got to come up with out of pocket just to buy one deal. Okay, with a flip, you're making $25,000 on average on a deal. So you can take that money and roll it into buying your rental property, allowing you to build your portfolio much faster than trying to scrounge or save that down payment money inside of your own income matrix. Does that make sense? So my point in all of this is, guys, you've got to get your structure ready. And I mean this sincerely. If you need some help setting up your LLC, you've never done it before, you just want some help to get it structured, I'm happy to do that. Please message me, but do so in the next 72 hours, okay? Because the laws are going to change, and any LLC filed in 2024 is going to be under an entirely different set of rules. As a result of that, my wife and I opened 5 LLCs in the last few days based out of Wyoming, because Wyoming has even better privacy laws, okay? So you really want to consider a Wyoming LLC, but that's a little bit complicated. That's phase 2. Just right now, it's important to get your business entity registered with the Secretary of State so you fall under the previous guidelines, not the January 1st, 2024 guidelines, okay? Because reporting is going to become a very big deal in the months and years to come here. You really want to get out in front of that. Okay. So with that, if you'd like to get started, I see there's a couple people still watching. Comment if you're still with me today. Say hi, say hello. Let me know you're here. I appreciate you guys tuning in every week to the show. With that, if you have questions, you want any comments you'd like to add, please put those in the comment box wherever you happen to be watching. I want to send a shout out to my new friends. Colorado Foreclosure Deals was added to that. Keep an eye on that because we're getting so many foreclosures. We're going to see a great deal more foreclosure traffic that we'll be pushing on that site. So keep an eye on that. And guys, don't delay on this. I know this is a very daunting task to get started, but what if you had a guide, somebody to walk you through all of the steps of doing your first foreclosure deal, so all the things that frighten you or concern you were just not a concern anymore? What if you had that guidance? That's what I provide with my coaching. I do not sell coaching to anybody. I simply offer what I can do for you as a real estate investor, either somebody seasoned or somebody who's just getting started. And if it makes sense, I ask you to join the program. Okay, that's the extent of how we get this pitch. Then I walk you through doing a deal because I don't want anybody on my roster who is not successfully doing consistent deals in real estate investing. It's great for my coaching business. It's great for my clients. It's ultimately great for the deals that are going to be coming on the market, because the more investors we have out there buying deals, the less the market's going to get bogged down by the foreclosure listings that are coming to the market, whether we want them to or not. It is shifting. It's happening now. You can get out in front of it and profit from the upcoming foreclosure market. So get your entity filed. Reach out to me if you need help with that. Thanks for listening, man. I really appreciate it. Appreciate you tuning in. It means the world to me. Thank you. Get your LLC set up. We're still going to be doing our live event every Wednesday night at Bell Brothers Brewing on Tejon. That's Wednesdays at 5:30. Of course, you can come see me here Thursdays at 10 o'clock every Thursday right here on the channel, wherever you get your information. Reach out, get that checklist. As soon as that's available, I'll announce it to everybody. So please get that in your roster so you know you're ready to go in 2024 to do a deal. And if you just feel like it's time to get started and do your first deal, slide up in my DM, send me a message. Let's hop on a quick Zoom call. We'll discuss whether coaching is the right fit for you in 2024 to do your first deal in real estate investing right here in this local market. There are deals. They are coming down the pike. My guys are super busy out there acquiring actual live deals. I want to show you one. I think we talked about it a while back, but I want to show it to you again, because the analysis on this is pretty solid. I'm trying to decide what the best way to show this one to you is. So this deal is on Lehigh, and Lehigh is at 80909. Here we go. I found it, and I'm going to move my screen over to that. Hold tight just a second for me, guys. So this property, we actually brought it up when it was listed at something like 289, give or take, right? And it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath property. As you can now see, not in terrible shape, right? The cabinets are the white shakers we would have put in anyway. The countertops leave some be desired color-wise, but they're functional. The flips we're doing right now, guys, are really more focused on functional than form. Whereas the past 2 years, we've really been focused on doing very high design, which is my wife Laura's favorite part because she's an interior designer and she loves that. Today, to cut costs, we got to do very basic remodels at lower costs to make sure that we're staying within budget and can then sell the property about 3 to 5% below what we think the actual retail value is. That's a direct result of the interest rates hitting us, and now we're really seeing what stuff is still moving on the market. When the market shifts back the other way, and it will, we're going to start doing high design remodels. But the point is, you have to alter. And how do you know when to alter? Well, it really takes doing a lot of deals with a group to see what's happening with each individual deal and make decisions in real time. This is something that's very difficult to do when you're only doing one deal at a time by yourself. So joining my group as a coaching client is going to get you the insight of all the clients that I'm working with, so we really get a feel of what the pricing model is. Let's look around Lehigh a little bit more. We budgeted the remodel on this right about $35,000, $36,000, give or take, right? The client got it for $275, is going to spend $35,000, $36,000 on the remodel. Okay, so we're all in at about $310. Okay, so 310 is our out on this. The sale on it is expected to be right about 360. Okay, so that leaves, with that 360 gap, you got 50K in gross profit. And then we basically, remember our cost of funds. We got to pay the hard money lender, right? We've got to pay the agent commission on the buy side. We get a great deal on the listing side as part of my arrangement with my agent, but you got to pay the buy side at just about full price, right? And then you got your cost of funds. So ultimately, the client should walk out of this deal with roughly the $25,000 that we promised. And this is not understating the remodeling costs, right? This is not in bad shape, but you're still going to spend a good 30 grand to do this right, cost effectively, right? If we went high design, you could easily spend 40, maybe 45,000 on this, but you now would be looking at hopefully wanting to get 375 or 380, right? So does it make sense to spend the added money on the deal if you don't need to and the market is selling houses cheaper? No, it does not, okay? So we're simply altering our strategy a little bit so we're getting the best bang for your buck on the remodel, ultimately providing more profit to the client, my coaching client, at a lower cost outlay to get this done. His total outlay on this deal is going to be the down payment on the property, roughly 10 to 15%, so $40,000. The money for the repairs are going to be escrowed by the lender, so no real out-of-pocket on that. I own a flooring store, okay, so we carry the flooring for the client for about, we got no interest payments on the property, on the flooring for up to 12 months, okay? So we get to the no interest financing on the flooring to get you a boost there. That's about $6,000, $7,000 of rehab's gonna be tied up there. Get a Home Depot credit card for $10,000, cover a lot of the materials. So really the only out of pocket on the escrow for the lenders is going to be the labor. Okay, everything else is kind of covered by the financing that we get set up. It's a beautiful model to use other people's money to get your remodel done cost effectively and profitably, because you have less out of pocket, allowing you more money to do more deals at the same time. Okay, so we get this all structured. He does the deal. It ultimately sells in that 360 bracket, makes $25,000 or so on the deal after paying back everything, and now is on to his next deal. The goal is to get my clients to 4 deals per year in this fashion. Basically, if I can get 50 clients doing 4 deals per year, that would be 200 deals per year. I do have an assignment fee. I make a little bit of money on every deal, so I've got a huge incentive to make sure that my clients are doing profitable deals consistently, because that translates into more money for me and my coaching program, which means the more money my clients are making, the more money I'm making. And that's how every investment relationship should be set up. Okay, so we've got this thing structured so it's beneficial to you as a client and me as a coach making this happen. That's a win-win environment. No matter how this works out, everybody wins, and that's what we're looking for. So if you want to get started in that, once again, slide up in my DMs, reach out to me. Let's talk about whether coaching is the right fit for you. For now, guys, I want to wish you the happiest of New Year's. I hope 2023 was awesome, but I'm telling you what, 2024 is going to be even better for real estate investors. Get involved right now. Stay tuned for that checklist. And remember, guys, now's the time to buy it. But as you're out there looking, do not, and I mean do not buy a house, buy a deal. Thanks for tuning in.